Growing up, I lived in a dysfunctional home. My emotions were extremely unsteady. In school, I had a bad reputation. I had a bad reputation with not only the students, but also the teachers. There was one teacher who never saw through me, Mr. Green. Mr. Green was one of the few people in my life that gave me some hope. Now, still we speak of the years that I had a lot of struggles and how his impression has affected me. We speak of the years that he continues to this day to inspire young students. It was Mr. Green's class that gave me something, a type of sense of acceptance. It was a way for me to look forward to something every day. Mr. Green's dedication and understanding and his compassion helped many teens very, very much like me. First, I'll describe Mr. Green's love for teaching and what it meant to him in his profession. Then I'll mention his journey in making education become an experience for all of his students. Lastly, I'll discuss the impression that he has left on so many of our young lives. For as long as I could remember, Mr. Green has always thought to be a teacher because of the great teachers that he himself had experienced. It was from the very first classroom that he stood in front of, he knew he wanted to be a teacher. Mr. Green speaks that if a teacher doesn't feel the love for teaching, then they shouldn't be a teacher at all. Determination, loyalty, and enthusiasm has guaranteed his passionate drive to teach young students. Now, why teach children if you do not give them the tools to become their full potential? This is what he thought. So in return, he would think of many unique ways to teach us. He not only wanted us to learn, but he wanted us to understand. He would use movies or different activities to help us understand history. It was his desire to make history come alive. It was his desire to show that yet he was in front of a classroom, but yet still a student himself. It was his desire to know each child personally and not by preconceived notions. Mr. Green not only was a positive influence on his students, but he was quite an admirable scholar. Quite admirable. His classes were like a theatrical stage, and he made us a part of history. He made sure that we became a part of history and we understood. He made us question. He made us want to learn. He allowed us very voiceless and often victimized students. He allowed us to have a voice. Now, Mr. Green also helped us develop respect for him, respect that we didn't have for many of our other teachers. Now, he also was a man who, in return, gave us respect that we ourselves didn't receive. Our teachers saw us as troubled teens, but troubled teens is not how Mr. Green saw us. For good or bad or rich or poor or foolish or wise, he didn't judge us regardless of our color or our race or any privilege, but he treated each student with respect. At times he is completely amazed, but very much honored that he has inspired so many lives. It's expected. He was more than just a teacher. He was our mentor, and he's our friend. Curt Green's dedication, his understanding, and his compassion has helped many of us troubled teens gain hope. Mr. Green's love for teaching has meant very much to him throughout his profession. He has made education become an experience a student could never forget. Mr. Green has left a positive impression on many of our lives, not just then, but still today. In his own words, all I ever asked was that my students tried their very best, and at any time needed help to please come to me. Mr. Green did that. At any time, he would always go the extra mile to help his students, not only through education, but also as emotional support. I fully believe that if it wasn't for Mr. Green, that a lot of us students would have failed in more than just our grades. His kind words and his patience is more than a lot of us could ask for. And even still today as adults, he's still there for us emotionally and supportively.